Hello everybody. Yes, I passed. I'm officially on my way to certification. Not till I have the registered in the FAA system, but I did take the Part 107 examination today and did pass. And now I will be licensed for the Part 107 Unmanned Aircraft General Small category, and didn't pass by a lot. Got 77%, and 70 is passing, and that's kind of what I want to stress to people. There's a lot of people that are going to see this video. This is not really so pertinent to my usual subscriber base, although they do follow the things that I do on a daily basis, because I like to push myself forward, learn new things, and bring exciting content, and a drone can be a good part of that. But what I want to stress to you, if you're watching this video because you're going to be getting licensed to be a drone operator, number one is get the license. Number two, if you don't get the license, don't get caught by the FAA out there. The fines are staggering. Things have changed. The third piece of advice or warning that I want to give you is, if you think you're going to do well just studying the information on a few old videos that were put out by people like Tony Northrup on his channel, and you're looking at information that's old and dated, and in no way, shape, or form does it give any idea of the balance of the things that you're going to need to successfully pass this examination, in my opinion. See, when you're looking at a course that's 3 and 4 years old, and I'm not here to sell a course, I didn't take a course. Okay, I probably aced everything that I needed to do and didn't do well on the new information that's not included in those crash courses. Why? Because the FAA is continuously updating the requirements as they become more and more used to incorporating drones within the control of the Federal Aviation Administration. What I want to stress to you now, you may not like. In my opinion, the FAA is now moving to a point with testing and certification where they want to weed out people that don't have the intelligence to really understand the risks of flying drones, say around airports, flying drones in other hazardous situations. And they've changed the testing over the years to encompass much less about the basic. You have to be 13 to register a drone. You have to be 16 to get certified on a drone. You have to wait 8 hours after drinking from the bottle to the throttle. What's the blood alcohol content? What's the penalty for refusing to take a blood alcohol test? Blah blah blah. Didn't see any of that on my exam. My examination was 2 huge sections, and I want to say 80%, 70 to 80% of my test was on sectional charts, particularly around airports. And what they're not telling you in those cram courses, which I took online because it's free, and I appreciate it. It gave me a good basis for sitting for the test. But what they're not telling you about is about the test booklet that you're going to be given, and how you're going to use that, and how you're going to have to do things that they don't even talk about. Calculate things, figure things out. For example, I had a question today that said, refer to figure 82.1 FAA chart 262.94242. Turn to that page and look at it, and then it has the aeronautical section chart over the Norfolk Airport in Virginia, and it identifies all the class B, C, D, E airspace. You should know all that stuff, but they want you to be able to find the distance. They'll say, now there's 2 towers that are 7 statute miles away from the Norfolk Airport at 100 and whatever south of the airport, and you're going to be flying your drone to inspect them no more than 40 feet above the top of the tower. What's going to be your limit? Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of towers at Norfolk Airport, okay? You think to yourself, well, how am I going to know the ones that are 7 miles from the actual center point of the airport? You know, you've got to be able to take that grid measuring scale that they give you on the side of the chart and be able to mark off and approximate what 7 miles is, and then fit it below that airport and try to figure it out. Okay, in other words, you're going to be doing sectional chart testing till you're blue in the face. You're going to be looking at altitudes and figuring altitudes and what is Class G airspace and all that kind of stuff. Now, why are they doing this? Because, in my opinion, I think they determined the test was too simple before, because they gave 4 or 5 questions and the rest were just, you know, vanilla candy cane questions. So everybody passes, yay, we all pat ourselves on the back. And we got people out there flying drones that are a potential hazard to civil aviation and military aviation. So in my opinion now, they can always change the tests, and they're pushing these tests much more now towards sectional information. Plus, let's say you take Tony Northrup, you sit down, it's not a course, you sit down, the guy's real nice, good looking guy, he sits there for an hour and a half, he goes through the whole test. But that was 4 years ago. All right, I'm encountering questions, and thank God I had the sense last night to try to find a few more modern or recent uploads about FAA Part 107 examinations, because they had questions related to lighting and twilight and beyond, lighting conditions and requirements for that, weight requirements for Class 2, 3, 4 drones, new regulations for flying over people in density clouds, and it's density crowds. I mean, there's that stuff's not even covered, you know, about potential for injury and lacerations of propeller blades and things like that. Yeah, you've had people actually lose eyesight because a drone's come down and blinded them. Okay, so they're not fooling around. So you've got to learn the new stuff that's going on too. Okay, the weight requirements for what the classes are now, because it's a whole new ball game. Yeah, they're starting to allow night flying, but there's specific requirements. Yeah, they're starting to allow flying over people, but there's specific requirements. They're discussing flying over traffic or transiting in and out of traffic situations. So that's not covered in those nicely presented things from 4 years ago. In other words, they're a good base, but they're, in my opinion, they're about 30 to 40% of what you need to know now to pass. How did I pass? I suspected I aced all the stuff on sectional charts. The FAA sectional charts for airports and other things. And I suspected I didn't do too well on the stuff that's the newer requirements about lighting, and how often how do the lights have to operate? Do they have to flash every 2 seconds? Do they twice every second? Do they have to be in continuous on mode? Yeah, all this, I don't know. Right. What I'm saying is, if you just depend on these online, these old, I don't want to call them worn out, but they should be a starting point and not ending point for preparing, because I think the FAA wants to make things much more difficult to start weeding out the people that are licensed to fly drones. So you're literally taking almost, according to what the instructor said at the school where I took the test, you're taking 75% of the test that a small plane operator takes. They're much more heavy on communications and runway approaches and how to communicate with towers and over water at great distances and all that kind of stuff, okay? But now imagine that to pass this that you need to get. So I guess I was kind of lucky. I walked out of the room expecting that the tester, it's all computerized, was going to say, yeah, sorry, see you in a couple weeks or whatever. And I see that I just passed with a 77%. Well, passing is good enough, okay? But I'll tell you, it's really, really lucky that I found some recent stuff because, and also that I went back and studied the hell out of sectional charts for airports and airspaces, class B, C, D, E, G, ceilings, approaches, towers, ground clearances, flight allowances. Nothing on longitude and latitude, okay? Nothing on that. It's not saying that you're not going to get it, but let's face it, they're going to make the big risk of flying a drone is around airports and crowded airspace, and they're going to make sure that you know that in this little rinky-dink airport about 15 miles southwest of Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport that you may think that you're clear to put your drone up, and you might be in a world of trouble because you're still in Class B airspace there, which is surface level to 10,000 feet. Right? You don't know. Study those sectional charts and that stuff like there's no tomorrow on that stuff. Okay. They're going to try to put Class D, Class E, dotted line, broken blue lines across Class B airspace. They're not going to give you slam dunk questions. They're going to give you stuff that you really have to scour that that sectional chart to really get the right ceiling and floor of the airport that you're talking about. So do not rely, as much as I enjoyed it for a starting point, do not rely on Tony Northrup's course and some of the other ones out there to get you through this program. If I had to do it all again, I would take probably 2 weeks and just get the FAA 60-page, 80-page, whatever the hell it is, study guide, the most current one, and I probably would have gotten maybe around a 90 or something like that. So, but the upside is, and this is what you want to think about, a lot of us fly commercially. And we're up in the air, and we're at great risk of things that can happen, other aircraft and things, birds. How many birds have brought down planes, right? And I think to myself, I don't want a Rosie O'Kelly out there thinking it's okay to fly because the airport's like, well, over there, and I'm only putting my drone up, 1,000 feet or whatever. What do I got to worry about? Well, I got a $50,000 fine I might be worried about, okay? And keep people from me, unlicensed people like me, that I formerly was, from just going out there and willy-nilly sending a drone in the air and then causing some sort of catastrophe. So, in a way, I say, great, I'm glad they have the requirements. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to pass this, especially on the first go-around. Okay, so prep well and know your stuff, because this ain't no joke. You're part of the FAA's sphere of regulation now. And of all the agencies that I've known and worked with, the FTC, the FCC, and now the FAA, these are the most unforgiving, because people lose their lives when things aren't handled properly. So I want you to succeed on your Part 107 examination. Just use those guide videos as a starting point, okay? And then build an equivalent amount of investment and time in getting the new stuff out there, and you will pass. This is not a cheap test. It's $150 to sit for this examination. You're going to sit in a little room, might be in an airport like I was in, where people are yakking, and you're going to be distracted. You're going to have a computer. You're going to be answering the questions. You can skip over some temporarily and then come back to them. You miss them, but you're going to have 2.5 hours, and it's going to be 2.5 hours of the hardest testing of your life. If it's anything like mine, because I don't know if there's levels of testing, but I'll tell you, I probably got the A one, and the A one is just crammed full of charts, calculations, and figuring out ceilings and floors. And nothing on weather, maybe a couple METARs, meteorological reports, and a couple of the just very little on that kind of stuff. It's all about charts, 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 charts. Airports, airports, airports. Because the FAA has identified that's where the real risk is in drone operators not knowing what the hell they're doing and being a hazard. And they're not going to allow that to happen, and the fines are going to be huge. So whenever I fly again, yes, I'm going to consult a sectional map. Going to have the app on my phone where I can pull up wherever I am and see what kind of class airspace I'm in, see if I have any special requirements, see if I need to obtain permission from the FAA, see if I need to monitor something, see if there's notes to airmen out there that there's some new hazard. Yeah, I'm going to take it really, really seriously, as you should too. So do not just go think this examination is just cut and dried. The days of the simple testing for this, in my opinion, are long gone. Okay, so they're taking it seriously. They thought it was too much of a cakewalk before, and they have just upped that dramatically. Okay, yes, know your aerodynamics, know how to calculate your load factor on banking at X degrees with, with the weight of the craft. Know all that stuff, how to calculate that, the increase of weight because of G. Understand all that stuff, all that airframe analysis and density of airs and dew points and humidity and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's a given. So that's my best advice to you coming out of the test is if I had to spend 80% of my time on sectional charts, I would do that, studying, and 10% on meteorological and 10% on just basic FAA rules. But do study now what class 1, 2, 3, 4 drones are, okay? Weights and all that. You're going to be tested like crazy on all that stuff. All right, I hope this helps, and thanks so much for watching. And yes, I'm glad I passed. Congratulations for passing the Airman Certification Standards. Good luck to you guys. Thumbs up are appreciated. I hope you appreciated this bit of advice to you. Like I said, it's not going to be very germane to my usual audience, but I want people to know because thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people sit for this examination every year. And if this can prove a benefit, like I hope it does to you, then your thumbs up are very appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and good luck to you off into the wild blue yonder.